in my message, I decided to stand where I am today. If you listen to the video I played of the statement of our Supreme Leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa, anybody that can be able to stand against the Zoological Republic and end these very atrocities of Nigeria, I support that person. Every group that is against the Zoological Republic, I stand with them. Because the problem we have is this very British entity called Nigeria. That is our problem. We don't have any other problem apart from that. That is why I stand with anybody that stands against Nigeria. I stand with that person and I support that person. It is not about an individual. It is not about a person. This is a battle that is facing us as a people, more especially the Biafran people. The atrocities of Nigeria cut across Biafra. It is not just the Biafrans, by the way. It cuts across Biafra. The northern part of Nigeria are even facing it worst. But the problem is that they have adapted into the system that they now accept their fate. It's just like the issue of terrorism we're talking about. The northern part of Nigeria have now embraced terrorism as a way of life. They don't complain anymore. They have cried and cried and cried and they lost tears. In the southwest, Yoruba land, many of them are in IDP camp, languishing in IDP camp. Nobody cares. Nobody is talking about it. Even their media, you know, Yoruba own the media. They own the media, but they don't report it. That is how evil Nigeria is. Nigeria will make you to hate your own freedom. You see people hating themselves, their own freedom. People hate their own freedom. And you begin to imagine, why would somebody hate his or her own freedom? Why would somebody be fighting against him or herself? Because in Nigeria, it goes. Just like today, they are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that Biafrans becomes afraid of their own freedom. They are making it so that Biafrans will be ashamed of even telling people that they are Biafrans. That is how bad it is. They want Biafrans to be ashamed of speaking in public and say, oh, I am a Biafran. That is why they are pushing different kinds of blackmail. That is why they sentenced an innocent man to jail. An innocent man who committed no crime. They pronounce a jail sentence on him to scare all us out. And they want to make us scared so that we will not be talking about Biafra anymore. Supposedly a civilized nation come out and tell you that Nigeria, that Biafra now is, for you to be a Biafran, you are a terrorist. That is practically what the sentence of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu means. Mazi Simon Ekpa. That for being a Biafra is a crime. I don't know how being a Biafra becomes a crime. Because to the best of my knowledge, Mazi Simon Ekpa has not committed any crime. The only crime Mazi Simon Ekpa committed was that he was saying that you should lead my people be. That is the only crime he has committed. Do you ask yourself, what crime has Mazi Simon Ekpa committed? What crime? Do you sometimes ask yourself, what did Mazi Simon Ekpa do that made them to pronounce a sentence on him? Up to 6 years. What did he do? Have you taken time to ask yourself, what offense did Mazi Simon Ekpa commit? And I'm going to name some of the offenses. The crime of Mazi Simon Ekpa. I'm going to name the crime of Mazi Simon Ekpa to you so that you can understand. One of our brothers wrote a very powerful epistle on that. Simon Ekpa's crime against humanity. And I'm going to name it. Look at the crimes. These are the crimes Simon Ekpa committed that made them to give him 6 years. I want you to pay attention. And I want everybody that's watching, send the message to your pastors, your reverend fathers, your imam, your native doctors, those who are in top positions, those who have, send them, look at the crime of Mazi Simon Ekpa. Let them preach it, let the world see it and be the judge. Number one of the crime that Mazi Simon committed is that Mazi Simon Ekpa insisting that Biafrans should continue to observe the voluntary Monday sit at home to demand the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is number one crime Mazi Simon Ekpa committed. In a country where the voiceless have no voice, where when you protest, they will open fire on you, that Mazi Simon Ekpa joined the Biafrans to support the sit-at. He wasn't even the one that put it in place. He only encouraged Biafrans and support them to continue to demand the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is the crime he committed against humanity. The second crime he committed is strengthening the Biafran security forces, establishing Biafra Defense Force, arming them against Fulani herdsmen and Nigerian security forces. That is the crime Mazi Simon committed, defending his own people. The next crime Mazi Simon committed was conducting Biafran self-referendum, which over 50 million Biafrans voted in favor of Biafran independence. This is the crime Mazi Simon committed that made them to hold him. Number four crime that Mazi Simon committed, I hope you are writing it down. Organizing 2 conventions for Biafran freedom in Finland. We are pointing out the crime. These are the reasons why they said Mazi Simon is a terrorist. And let the world be the judge. Organizing 2 conventions for Biafra freedom in Finland. That is why Finland gave Mazi Simon 6 years. Designing and introducing the Biafran passport. These are the crimes he committed. That even some Biafrans are calling him a terrorist. The Biafrans themselves, Biafran people went and testified against him in the court. These are the crimes he committed. Organizing 2 conventions in Biafra freedom in Finland. Designing and introducing the Biafran passport. Number 6, moving the Confederate capital of Biafra from Enugu to Ebobe. These are the crimes he committed. That Nigeria, Finland, and DOS decided to tag Mazi Simon Ekpa a terrorist because he moved the Confederate capital of Biafra from Enugu to Ebobe. Number 7, forming the Biafran government in exile and the Biafran homeland de facto government, which has now transformed into United States of Biafran government. That is the crime that Mazi Simon Ekpa committed. These are the crimes that he committed and they made it, called him a terrorist and sentenced him to 6 years. Because Mazi Simon Ekpa formed the Biafran government in exile and the Biafran homeland de facto government, which has now transformed to United States of Biafran government. That is the crime he committed. Number 8, redrawing the Biafran map and creating the 40 states of Biafra. Redrawing the Biafran map and creating the 40 states of Biafra. This is the crime Mazi Simon committed. They call him a terrorist. The DOSO, the Nigerian government, the Finland government, and their allies. This is the crime that Mazi Simon committed because he redrawed the map of Biafra and created 40 states according to the will of the Biafran people. Designing and introducing the prototype of Biafran currency, a Gemma. These are the crimes. Setting up committee that wrote the Biafran constitution. Because Mazi Simon Ekpa set up a committee that wrote the Biafran constitution. That is why they say he's a terrorist. That is why they say he's instigating. These are the crimes committed. I want the world to judge. Write them down. This our brother who wrote this wrote a very powerful piece. And you can equally bring out your own point. If you know any other crime, you know that I didn't put here or he didn't put here, you include it. We want the world to see all these things and judge how this amounts to terrorism. Establishing Biafra liaison offices in over 50 countries, lobbying those countries to recognize Biafra. That is a crime. To DOS, to Nigerian government, and to Finland. That Mazi Simon Ekpa was able to establish liaison offices in over 50 countries and lobbying those countries to recognize Biafra. That's one of his crimes. That the DOS, the Nigerian government, and the Finland government saw that made them to say they want to jail him 6 years. Hiring diplomats, lobbyists who help to push the Biafran cause to the world stage. These are another one. Because Mazi Simon Ekpa hired lobbyists who help to push the Biafran cause to the world stage. I want the world to judge. If you have any other one I didn't list, you bring it up. Setting up the Voice of Biafra Radio. Mazi Simon Ekpa set up Voice of Biafra Radio to educate the Biafran people, to sensitize the world about the issue of Biafra and what is going on, and still going on even as we speak. That is a crime. That is what they saw as an instigation. That is what made them to come as a terrorists, because they set up a radio to educate Biafran people. Above all, exposing the saboteurs and corrupt elements hiding under IPOB. Above all, exposing saboteurs and corrupt elements hiding under IPOB and saboteurs hiding under Nigerian Zoological Republic. These are the crimes they committed that made them to call Mazi Simon Ekpa a terrorist. If there is anyone I have missed, you can add it up and let the world be the judge. Wherever you are and you're watching this program, I urge you in the name of Chukwu Okike to be strong. Never give up. It doesn't matter the propaganda. It doesn't matter the blackmail. No matter where it is coming from, no matter who is sponsoring it, I know they are not going to stop. And I want you to know that they will not stop. They will not stop. Oh. They are not going to stop. They will not stop. They are going to come more and more. They are going to come more and more. Just go and look at the situation of the Israelites when they were in Egypt. Even when Pharaoh wanted to let them go, he still chased them again and said, no, how can I let these people go? That is our situation. So we must tighten up our belt and prepare. And continue to call out our clergymen. Those are our clergymen, those in Vatican, those are in United States, those are in Europe, in United Kingdom, who are parading themselves as clergymen with on top positions. Call them out. Let them begin to speak about what is happening to their own people. Let them speak about what is happening to their own people. Why do they focus on the issue of Palestinians? They talk about the situation of Palestinian people and they will never speak about their own situation. For how long will they continue in that idiotic things they are doing? It's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help anybody. We must continue to speak up. They will not like what we say, But they must not like us. We don't seek permission for anybody, and we are not looking for anybody to like us before we talk. We are not here to seek for approval for anybody. No, that's not what we do. All we do is to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Speak the truth to power. Tell the world the condition of Biafra. So many of us today are giving up. Don't give up. I know it is very challenging. I know sometimes the situation is very, very tough and difficult. Sometimes even very difficult to explain. But I urge you in the name of Chukwu Kabiam, don't lose your guard. Never give up. Continue to be strong. Continue to be consistent. Continue to be focused. No matter what you see, no matter what you hear, continue to stand strong. Because our freedom is signed and sealed. Nigeria is a failed state. And the whole world knows about this. Even those who are claiming to love Nigeria, they know that it's a failed state. They know that Nigeria cannot stand. Everybody knows that. But they are waiting for who to speak. But we, the Biafrans, have taken it upon ourselves, we've taken upon the challenge that we will continue to speak, we will continue to talk, no matter how bad it is, no matter where they kept us, no matter how they try to cover the evil, we will not allow them to cover it. I want every one of us never to forget. And the people of the world that are watching, they say that we, the Biafran people, are the one causing insecurity. I will not stop reminding them of where we are coming from. The insecurity in Nigeria that you are seeing today did not start yesterday. And I'm going to share a very touching program that I have played here before a very long time. Many of us have seen that video. But we will keep on reminding them why we want to get out of the Zoological Republic. We will keep on reminding the world. Because today they pretend they don't know. More especially Finland. Finland pretends today they don't know what is happening in Nigeria. I am going to play this video once again. I want us to pay attention to this emotional confession of somebody who the Fulani Janjaweed kidnapped. A woman they kidnapped, and the family swear never ever to come back to Nigeria. And they say even if when they die, nobody should bring their corpse to Nigeria. They say even if they die, nobody should bring their corpse to Nigeria because of what they faced in the hand of the Fulani Janjaweed. And Finland wants us to fold our hands until these things happen to us before we can now fight for our freedom. Finland wants us to run to exile, get nationalities outside, and remain there. They want every one of us to go outside, run to somewhere and become a nationality over there and leave our land for them. That is why they have the boldness to arrest a man who is speaking on our behalf. We will never forget. We know whom we are. We know what we are facing. We know the danger we are in, and we cannot play and pretend we don't know. I want to remind some of us those dangers, because in Nigerian media, these informations are not coming out anymore. Informations about the terrorists, have they stopped? They never stopped. The herdsmen are still kidnapping till tomorrow. Till tomorrow, they are still kidnapping. And I want to let us listen to this message once again to remind you of what this Fulani Janjaweed can do.
The driver thought the wagon's tires rupture and decided to park the car with the hope of changing the tires. It was like a film. In a GC, motley military uniform, came out of the bush. They fired at the boot of the car. Ahead of us, 5 of them came out of the bush. Another 2 came from the rear. My daughter screamed, "Mommy, Daddy, what's going on?" There was no time to say a word. They marched us through it into the bush, firing into the sky. My chest hit my daughter. Blood oozed. At this time, it was better to kill me. Shouted at one of the armed men. His response was hell. He went straight to my private part, tore my dress with his gun. The others ripped my dresses. I was left with my undies. My husband and my daughter started crying. 2 of them dug their teeth into my breasts. While attending a secondary school in Adamawa, I had lived with some Fulani, so I understood a few Fulani words. I started bleeding, at least for my daughter. To my shock, at gunpoint, they removed the dress of my little girl. One of them carried her on his head as my baby struggled, shouting, "Daddy, Mommy, what's going on? Help me!" I could not help myself. We marched for 9 hours. I was half naked. My daughter was totally naked. Her tears was like a stream of blood on her cheeks. Our phones had been seized. We ended up in an ungoverned region in the thick of the forest. We met a well-organized group. There were some kidnapped victims. I saw 2 women, 2 ladies and 3 men. There were some people with their legs chained to trees. They were as if half dead. We were separated. Oh, I was separated from my husband. My daughter was taken away. I only heard her screaming intermittently. I did not know what they were doing to her. These men, now about 2 dozen, had a full kitchen. They had a huge camp and a traditional medical team. How can they say they don't know where these people are? How can they say that? But the camps appeared isolated from each other. We had noises afar, indicating it might be nuclear settlements of camps. Right in my presence, I saw them pack the remains of a woman. They took her and buried her a few meters away from us. She had tribal marks. I cannot describe the agony of 6 days in captivity in this little piece. I cannot talk about how they asked my husband to choose between myself being raped or his daughter being raped. My husband broke down in uncontrollable tears. One of them hit him saying, "Yoruba bastard, you dey cry, idiot." They gave him an option that he should be raped by one homosexual among them. My husband, a devout Muslim. My husband is a devout Muslim. He told them that homosexual and rape of any kind was against Islam. He hit him with a bottle of AK-47. What do you know about Islam? You can imagine, you are being asked to choose between being raped by a homosexual, your daughter just 9 years old, or your wife being raped. They gave the 4th option. If you fail to choose one, we would rape your daughter, rape you, the man, and rape me, the wife. I made myself the sacrificial lamb. My husband died. See, they should name any price. One of them asked him to bend down. 3 beastly criminals sat on his back, jumping until he was too weak to stand. night and they stopped me from putting on any clothes for 24 hours. The rain fell once. I became a relic and a sexual museum for the armed men who in turn addressed me and asked questions about my financial standing. New Fulani men joined the camp. They organized military training for the new Fulani men that came, teaching them how to shoot and walk through circles of glowing fire. They were not released until after 6 days. We were not released until after 6 days. We had to walk the same zigzag journey back to the main room, our eyes blindfolded. During the negotiation to pay, they said the money was not for them alone, that they had to settle those who sent them. For me, I see a thriving organized crime supported by powerful political interests. Now, I do not think we were released to freedom after paying a whopping 8 million naira. I do not think we can ever be free. We can never be free from the anguish, the psychological trauma, the nightmares we suffered, the occasional fix of my daughter, her waking up at night behaving strangely, her asking the same question over and over, Mommy, Mommy, why? Why? And I do not have an answer. In my life, I have never passed through a torture chamber like this. I do not think any society should let this happen. I do not know the fate of those we met and about 7 other people brought during the 6 days we were in captivity. What I saw was a nation that has collapsed, but pretends she lives. A people on life support. Crime is not restricted to Fulani people alone. We have Yoruba criminals, but I don't think Yoruba criminals are this easily. These elements are savages. I can't imagine Yoruba thieves going to Sokoto or Maiduguri to kidnap Fulani people and keep them in their own bushes. It gives me mental torture that this is happening, and some people are even trying to justify or look for excuses. Well, as a devout Muslim, myself and my family have taken solace in Allah. Not the Nigerian police, not the army, not the government. We have taken our faith the way it came, that our this is supposed to be faith. I thank God that we successfully returned to where we live thousands of miles from Nigeria. We thank God that we have made a vow. Never shall me, any of my children or husband in our lifetime visit Nigeria again. Our remains, anytime we die, will also not be buried in Nigeria. It was a suggestion my daughter made, which we all adopted. I pity the country. I pity her people who continuously walk like the living dead. I pity those who parade themselves as leaders because they know nothing about what is going on and the abyss the country is sunk already. I pity Yoruba people. Oh, I pity my people. For me, the issue is not about President Buhari. Democracy can produce anything, even the worst in the society. What I worry about is the conspiracy of silence by the people themselves, the ignorance, the treachery, and the illusion that one day things will get better through another election. Since I was born in Nigeria, each year had led from bad to worse and on and on. I do not have a solution to what's going on, but I think very soon hell will let loose upon the earth as long as there is no law and order and anarchy and the rule of roots in the order of the day. Once again, there can never be anything more comforting than my husband, who saw what I went through, but was able to encourage me, and even encourage me to write this little piece after months of agony and sociological imbalance. Good night, Nigerians.
What you had, this testimony you saw here, was the testimony of a Yoruba family a Muslim for that matter. This testimony, you know, it is good once in a while we play back these videos. We play back this is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preventing. This is what you can imagine, the story of a Yoruba woman, a Yoruba family, Muslim for that matter. The way the man was raped, his wife was raped, his daughter was raped, and they paid ransom. And you see the woman who wrote that confess and say that Nigeria is gone and gone. People are playing politics, trying to, the same thing they are still doing today. The same thing they are still doing today. Today, what they have succeeded in doing today is that they don't want us to get this kind of information anymore. The media doesn't report it. This action is still going on. And the only reason why this is not happening in Biafra land to this extent is because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa put a mechanism on the ground to see that this janjaweed do not have effect. Are you telling me that Finland government is not aware of this kind of informations about the atrocities being carried out in Nigeria? This is not a Biafra, no, a Yoruba woman. She even swore that no member of her family will ever return to Nigeria again. She took the oath that no member of her family will ever return to Nigeria again. You can imagine. This is what is happening in the Zoological Republic. And this is what Mazi Simon Ekpa was preventing. And they went and kidnapped him. And today people are clapping. People are happy. Oh, he got 6 years. They gave him 6 years. This is what is happening in Nigeria that gave Finland the information that they went and kidnapped Mazi Simon Ekpa through judicial means. Because what they did to Mazi Simon is a judicial kidnap. I call it a judicial kidnap. A legal kidnap, judicial way. That's what they did to Mazi Simon Ekpa. Anytime I listen to this video, I shed tears. Anytime I listen to this video, I shed tears. And I wonder how somebody can listen to this video. After listening to this video, you still come and speak of one Nigeria. You still come boldly and talk about one Nigeria. You see the woman say it. The woman say, even though Yorubas have their own criminals, but Yoruba criminal will never have the kind of heart, wicked heart, that a Fulani criminal has. A criminal-minded Fulani to go into a Yoruba criminal can never go to Fulani land and kidnap a family and rape the mother, the father, the children, and collect ransom, and still hold them in the bushes. The woman was saying it. The woman saw everything, and her family, they saw everything. How these people in their camp were equipped with different sophisticated ammunitions in their camp. They kidnap a family. They rape the man. They tell the man to choose. They first of all tell the man to choose either to rape the man, or to rape the wife, or to rape the daughter. The man begin to cry and say he's ready to pay any amount. They don't care. They say since he doesn't want to make a choice, even the wife will later sacrifice herself, give herself to them to rape. But yet it wasn't enough. They still rape the husband, they rape the wife, and they rape the daughter. And the daughter swore with the members of the family that they will never, ever step their foot in the Zoological Republic again. Never. This is just one. There are many people who have taken that oath that dead or alive, they will never step their foot in the Zoological Republic. The people of the world don't know. You don't know what you are hindering. You don't know. Each time you promote Nigeria, you don't know the life you are destroying. Each time you continue to defend Nigeria, each time that name continues to exist, you don't know the life you are destroying on the planet Earth. This very family now, any place they hear Nigeria, it is tragedy. It reminds them of pain. It reminds them of pain. And that is why our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said the name Nigeria need to be obliterated from this planet Earth. And Mazi Simon Ekpa say that we want to make sure that this name doesn't exist anywhere. The name is evil. The name is tragedy. The name is wickedness. Everything that surrounds that name Nigeria is evil. There is nothing good that comes out of it. Nothing. There's no good memory. There's nothing you will remember. I say, oh, because of this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that is the country that Finland is dining and whining with. This is the country that the Western world are whining and dining with. But are they going to force us to be whom we are not? They will never, they will never succeed. They will never succeed. No matter how they try to continue to hold us down, they will never succeed. As you know, today is Sunday. What did your pastor preach today in the church about Biafra? You that is a clergyman, a Biafran clergyman that went to church today, you prayed. Did you pray for Biafra? What message did you preach? You think that the insecurity has stopped. Every one of you have kept silent. They kidnapped Mazi Simon Ekpa. Has your condition changed? What did you preach in your church today? I want to show you what a Yoruba preacher preached in his church. And I want to ask you, you that is a Biafran preacher, what did you preach in your own church today? Let's hear this Yoruba man, the message he has for his own congregation.